Hello. Hi, everyone. There's Josh. This is George.
Hey, everyone.
This is George Wood, and
I go by George A. Wood now.
All right.
I've been told that just George Wood is too, plain.
George A. Wood.
George A. Wood.
Okay. Well,
Anyways.
That's your writer's name, stage name. The thing is, you can hear. Good. Everybody's right. Everybody's answering me. That's the cool thing about this is that it's really interactive.
Yeah.
Hey, Monica.
Who is George? Yes. Who is George?
Who is George? That's the question of the hour.
Oh, I love how there's so many colors.
I know. Me too. This is the cool thing on here. You can personalize so many things on here.
So I have a little studio back at home, and
Cool.
I have my assistant, and he sits behind a tiny desk and with one little mixing board. It's nothing like this. I'm going to come home with big ideas.
Well, we used to have just one screen, and then Josh's brother wanted to give us this big thing here and make us look really professional.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening.
I have to admit, so we have two screens here. We got the one that's live and then one that's sort of like tape delayed. And Josh was telling me, and I was like, yeah, I get it. Now it's really messing with my head because I'm like over here doing one thing, but over there doing a totally another thing. So.
Yes, and then here we are doing
and then here we are.
It's completely different. And we talked about this earlier, the difference between looking in somebody's face versus trying to connect over computer or over text chat is completely a different dynamic.
Yes, it is.
We're about to
do you remember why I told you that?
Well, we're about to get into real deep stuff real quick. But let's figure out who George is, and then we'll talk about that. Let's not forget, because that is one of the most important things I think we could talk about.
Well, see, some couple people know me. I don't feel so lost
Yeah,
anymore.
Monica's on here. Summer's on here. What's up?
Yeah.
From Fuel. Yes.
Yes.
George is a rock star. I said that. Actually, that's Josh on the phone, tapping, typing.
That's hilarious. You just said, I said that. That's like,
I did say that.
You're actually sitting here with me. That was not you. That would have been cool.
I have one of those typers that's not a thing. Is it on a movie they had, like, you could just type on the desk anywhere? And
Yes, that's in a lot of movies.
Is it real?
No, it's in movies.
Okay. Yeah, a Rough Like Love Back fan. Look, so that's where we know George from. George, actually, we connected through Rough Like Love Back, and also through there is a retreat, kind of like not retreat, it's a conference.
Yeah, it was called a family gathering at the Cornerstone Church,
which is very interesting. The thing that makes that so memorable to me.
Hello?
I think I messed up. Okay. Is that was when I went down to this conference at the same time I lost a friend of mine to a heroin overdose. I was just talking to you about her. And it's interesting that that's how I know you, because that is exactly the people and the people that you reach out to and the people that you help and what you wrote your book about, that I'm actually privileged and honored to write the foreword for.
Yeah.
And I'm praying all the time that I will get the right words, because this could be, it's one of the most important things to me right now. And actually, I can't get away. I mean, everything's connected to it. Everything. Like, and you say that in your book. You talk about how recovery. The book's called Uncovery, and it's about recovery from your perspective of what you've seen work and what you've seen not work and what you've seen is different for different people.
Yeah.
But it's actually all of our story, especially if we call ourselves Christians.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because we're always in a journey of uncovery, revelation, like understanding who we are in Christ, understanding and becoming what we're created to be more and more, right?
Yeah. Well, if so for me, so I personally, overcame drugs, heroin and alcohol and mental health issues and multiple suicide attempts. 6 times I attempted suicide, all the way up to, the age of 35. So,
Wow.
I've woken up more times then I care to remember that I didn't want to still be alive and couldn't believe I was still alive. So,
Wow.
in and out of, psychiatric wards, been on every type of medication there is to stabilize the mind, and they didn't work. And,
Wow.
just, a long history of, physical, sexual, mental abuse in my past, and just, overcoming so much of that, for me personally through Jesus. But it's interesting because the way Jesus worked in me was through the power of community and power of acceptance and the power of feeling wanted and loved and having a purpose. But when we see people that are struggling with mental health issues, and we see people struggling with addiction issues and suicidal thoughts and the like, they don't feel accepted, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't feel like they belong somewhere. And so I don't blame Alcoholics Anonymous or any of the Anonymouses. I think they do some good things. But
you talk about that in your book a lot. And as I'm reading this book, or I've been reading this book throughout this time, like I've been on a journey with people who are successfully going through Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'm going to meetings with people in Narcotics Anonymous that I love, and that I'm just there for support. And I'm reading your book, and I'm realizing there's so much more to this.
Yeah.
And this is so helpful and so important, but there's more to this too.
Yeah. Well, it's like, let's look at it this way. We all want to live a life that's full, and we all want at the end of our time in this world to look back and say, I lived a life that meant something. At least we should. We want to, I think when we are on our deathbed, we want to know that the next day that we're not there, there's people that are going to miss us. There's people that are going to count on us to be in their life, right? At least that's the whole point of creation, is to be in relationship with each other. Jesus came to restore us to the Father, but the Father came to restore us to each other. So there's just this power in community. But when we look at the way that recovery has been looked at for years, because of things like Anonymous, and it's not that the steps themselves don't work, they do for some people, but it's the idea that I have to be anonymous. It's the idea that I have to be in this group over here, but I can't be in your group over there. And so for addiction, what works is connection. The opposite of addiction is connection. So if we understand it from that perspective, then when we tell people they got to go to a recovery meeting, or they got to stick with the recovery people, that's not connection, because then it just further, sort of symbolizes the fact that I don't actually belong to your group. Yeah, I belong to this group over here, and it's just so hard. And so for me, the idea of the uncovery is the idea that it's not just addiction, it's mental health, it's suicide, it's everything that human beings go through. Typically gets worse when they're alone, right? And so if we could understand, wait a minute, let's stop putting people in groups over here, over there, and recognize, no, we're all part of the problem, because we all have to be part of the solution. Yeah. And for so long, we've thought of any of those, addiction, mental health, or suicide, as the other person's problem, the family's problem, the group of friends around that person's problem, but it's not my problem over here. Right. And that's why people are so embarrassed about it. But if we just said, wait a minute, what if it's society's problem, and we all need to come around each other and support each other and give each other a reason to live? So build a life that a person wants to stay sober for.
Yeah, and you talk about that in your book a lot, is the difference between getting free and feeling free. But then what do you do with your freedom? Yeah. How do you, like you said, if you get sober and the life that you're facing is the same that it was before you started, you got addicted, then what do you have to stay sober for? What is your transformed life look like? Yeah. And I thought that was really it is a very powerful book, like you just said, Dave. It sounds like a very powerful book. It is, and it's the thing about it that makes it so credible and powerful is George's own story of having walked through. He knows what it's like to feel alone in that, to feel isolated, and misunderstood, and like I'm like this group of people but not that group of people. I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine in AA and saying, there's other things you probably need counseling for. There's somebody I talked to that maybe you could talk to, and this person was like, well, did they know about what it's like to be an alcoholic? Because I don't think I have anything to say to them if they don't know what that's like. And I'm like, well, there's other things in your life besides, that's not the only thing you are.
Yeah.
But it was so ingrained into this person's thinking is that everything's filtered through this. And so it was really, when I was reading your book and you said, or when you were just talking and you were like, I'm part of this group, but not that group. It was really, I found it really difficult for them to watch them feel like they belonged even in our space.
Yeah.
Part of the steps, which I think is so brilliant and something that I say a lot is that you take the same energy that you used to go after your addiction and serve somebody else, love somebody else, go be of service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so even in this relationship, it's hard, even if they're, giving like loving on you, like giving you, and it's part of their journey and it's good and you receive it. But at the same time, when you want to return that, how do they receive it?
Yeah.
Do they know how to receive love?
Yeah.
It felt like that was like missing because I don't feel like I really belong. I feel like I owe you or I'm supposed to do this. Or
transactional.
Yeah. The transactional piece.
It is the transactional piece.
That's the part that's so hard.
It absolutely is.
Because I want to say, you don't owe me anything. Like I am, I just love you. Can I just love you? And that's just, it's a really hard thing to wrap your mind around as a human being.
Which is why it doesn't work if we can't get everybody to do it. It's a societal change. I am trying to change the way the world looks at recovery all the way around. And I know it's a big thing, but that's the goal. See, if an individual changes, that's great. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to start a movement of people that understand we have to look at people differently. Because you and Josh could be the most loving people around, and you are. And so you're helping someone, and she doesn't necessarily trust you. But the reason she doesn't trust you isn't because of you. It's because of everybody outside of your door.
Yeah.
And so it's too hard to distinguish who's trustworthy and who's not. Because there's just too many people that are not trustworthy.
It is. I noticed that when I got married, Josh came from a different side of town. I just would say that. When he hears somebody screaming, he thinks it's kids playing. And when I hear somebody screaming, I'm like, we need to go help them.
Yes. I am familiar. Yeah.
And so I know that in street smarts, in a safe environment it destroys your relationships.
Yes.
And trusting in an unsafe environment will destroy your life. And I'm like,
it's both. And
I'm like, where are we? What do we do here? Like, who are we hanging out with? And
that's why if you see people, a person who's struggling with addiction or mental health issues, they'll always scan. And and they don't even realize that, but they're always scanning rooms when they come in for the first time.
I see that.
Yeah.
I noticed
that. It's a legitimate self-defense mechanism that they've been taught, because the question nobody's asking is, why do people become addicts? Why do people not want to take their medication? Why do people not want to tell anybody about their suicidal thoughts? Because it's just, that's the hard part, is like, how did we end up this way? And most people obviously look back in rose-colored glasses and think, oh, my parents were good, they did the best they can. But there's something deeper in the way that we develop as children, the way that we develop in traumatic situations, that it doesn't have to be outright, physical or mental or psychological, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Serious abuse. That obviously is bad, but it can be a single mom who is stressed because she's trying to put food on the table for her 3 kids. And so one of the kids, all 3 kids are crying. Two of them are not going to get love. one of them is. And so they can register that as I'm unlovable. And so that can set them on a spiral, which is why we end up with things like the middle child syndrome or the last child syndrome. It's a legitimate thing because of the way that development happens in a person. But when that fully matures, it ends up looking like addiction. It ends up looking like mental health issues that don't want to go treated. It's suicidal thoughts that nobody wants to talk about. We have to get to the point where we're asking what happened to people so that we can understand that it's not as simple as we think. If for years people thought addiction, and some still do, is bad decisions. It's not. Nobody chooses to be an addict. Nobody chooses to keep getting high. We have to keep getting high because that's the only way we can survive in our skin. It's the only way I can stay alive. But trust me, people that are in hardcore addiction don't want to be there. But so much of the world thinks that they want to be.
Well, I remember this moment on an airplane one time with somebody I knew that was part of our group of people that was traveling with us. And this person had an addiction problem, and they were supposed to be a leader, like a church leader. And some people knew about it. Not everybody knew about it. And I just, for a long time before this came out, did not trust this person. I just felt like they were just not honest. And when this finally came out, I was like, just saying, well, I knew, I'm talking about like, and I don't want to, I still don't trust them. I mean, even more like now I've justified, like, don't leave your stuff out. Like, this person is not trustworthy. And I remember just having this attitude of like anger in my heart of like, how could they just play such a charade? And, and then I'm sitting on the plane and we're going somewhere as a group.
I hope you're going somewhere.
We're just sitting on the plane.
We're just sitting on the plane.
Just where we're hanging out. But we were going somewhere, and then the guy, I heard this person next to me was sitting next to me, and the Lord said, and I felt like the Lord started speaking to me like in my heart when I was about to fall asleep, which sometimes He does that, and He'll start asking me things, and usually I know it's God because I don't know the answers to the questions. Is that weird?
Only God can ask you questions you don't know the answers to.
You know mental health. Yeah. You know about mental health stuff. So this could be schizophrenia, I suppose. But no, it's not. Okay. So this is how sometimes I hear the Lord speak, is when I hear a question I don't know the answer to, and I just pray. I'm like, okay, Lord, what is the answer? But I heard this question like, what if I told you the lady next to you had cancer? What would you say? And I'm like, I would pray for her, and I would, I would see what I could do to, just comfort her in some way. And He's like, didn't I die for her to be healed of cancer? And I'm like, well, yeah, didn't you? And, I mean, yeah, people got healed when you prayed for them. And then He was like, well, so didn't I die for so-and-so to not keep on sinning? So-called sinning, in their addiction, to not be a fake, to not be a hypocrite or a celebrity. I was like, well, yeah. And He's like, but you're not going to treat her the way in your thoughts, the way you're treating him. You're not going to get angry at her for having cancer, but you're going to be angry at him for having this addiction that he's finally admitting. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah. And I just started crying because I never related it in my mind, like you said, to like a sickness.
Right.
Even though it is a sickness, and I know that it is because, I've had people that, there's so many people I love that wish their life was different, and they just don't know how to have a different life.
Well, let's look at it this way. I mean, it's in a way, I feel like, some of the book has, answers to make things more clear, but they actually tell us a story that's actually bigger than we thought. So it's almost like we can contain if a person's just making bad decisions. We can contain, they're just addicted to opiates, right? It's hard, but maybe we can overcome that. But what if the truth is that their whole life sucks?
Yeah.
They have no close relationships, no good relationships. They don't have a job, or they have a job that they feel demeaned at. They feel like they're looked at like they're less of a person, that they can barely survive on, that, their housing is in a horrible, slumlord of a place. I mean, these factors matter, okay? A person's entire life plays a part in the decisions that they make. And so when we look at, I just want to say it's a person's bad choices, it's a lot easier than saying, well, their whole life kind of sucks. And I guess if I really want them to change, I really need to help them with the whole picture.
Yeah.
Because we have to want to live.
Yeah.
We have to want to not just stay sober, but we have to want to live a life of, fulfillment and transformation. And we have to believe that that's possible. And when people don't believe that's possible, asking them to go into recovery, asking them to stay on their medication for mental health, when there is just no part of their life that looks like it's ever going to be better.
Yeah.
It's just so hard.
Yeah. And that's what's so cool about you.
Okay. I don't know about that.
I mean, what's cool about you that I've seen personally, and I know you guys don't really know George, and I don't really know you too well, but I know you enough to know that if I call you at 2 a.m, you're going to answer the phone.
Yeah.
And if somebody I love needs help, you're gonna talk me through how to help them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, so many people just don't know how to help, and they just don't know where to go. And so they just kind of shut down, and they just kind of look for something funny on the internet, or they can play a video game. Like, can we please just change the subject? But that's just the hard thing is like, sometimes we do need that relief. Like I remember walking through somebody who was going through recently, just going through withdrawal from trying to stay clean from heroin. And I'm like, George, she's just eating chocolate all day long. I don't know. That's got to be horrible for her. She's just eating junk and sugar. And you're like, yeah, that's good. That's what she needs to be doing right now. And I'm like,
but the best part
okay.
is when you go, I'm trying to talk to her and I'm trying to talk her through things, and I'm like, Lacey, what you really should do is stop trying to talk to her and just be present in the room. And you go, yeah, okay. I'm like, her mind isn't processing right now.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. But people don't know things like that.
And that's what's great about your book is like when I was reading the book, I felt like I could face things that before I would have faced them, but I would have done it wrong. And I have done it wrong. And I remember this moment when I was talking to somebody.
I was just going to get some chocolate. All right, Michelle, you do that.
Bring me some too. That's the thing is like, I was thinking about talking just when I was talking through this with my brother and with, the things that he's walking through, just that the way I talk about, sometimes I get mad. I'm like, I'll get angry and it's just not appropriate to get angry at these things. I mean, I can be angry, but I don't need to express anger because even there's a scripture that says the anger of man, the wrath of man does not lead to the righteousness of God. But there's some things where I'm just like, I don't want to talk to you anymore until you figure this out. Like,
well, there's a fine line. I do believe that. And so what the hard part for me in not just the book, but my whole life, people, talking to me and asking questions, because I live in the inner city. I've been sober myself since 2006 and live in the inner city with my wife. And we do ministry in our neighborhood, a very poor, crime-ridden neighborhood. And I also run an organization that works with broken men coming out of addiction. And over the last 11 years, we've figured out how to get men sober for multiple years. On average, our men make it 3.5 years, right? And so a lot of times I'll speak about addiction and mental health at places, and then people want answers that for one, I don't have. Like, I'll always do a talk and somebody will come up and say, well, how do I got my son who's drunk at my house right now. What do I do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't. Yeah. But I can give you maybe some pointers, but if there's not a secret, here's the secret, this is what you do type of thing. And the other part of it is like, well, I guess I just let them get away with anything then. It's like, no.
Yeah,
no,
that's what that's the other side of the ditch.
Talk to the people I've actually worked with, and they'll be like, oh, heck no, George will throw some people out in a heartbeat. So,
okay. Well,
I'm pretty known for, there's a law that has to come down sometimes and be like, okay, you're damaging the whole community, so we have to move on.
Yeah.
So it's not about letting people just do things that are harmful to themselves and don't hold them accountable. But there just is something about a deeper understanding that leads us to an empathy that is more like God than we usually would have.
Well, that's what I feel like the balancing act. When I met Brad, which is our mutual friend that actually, I think he connected us, Brad.
Yeah. Yes.
Brad has this same mentality, and I have this anti-codependent like thing. Like, no codependency, like, get over it. Like, you need to stand on your own feet and deal with your stuff and stop blaming everybody else and stop trying to hang. I'm not gonna hold your arm. Like, I remember one time I was at church and all these people, it was leading, I was singing a song in front of this youth group, and they all started like hanging on each other.
Oh boy.
And I was like, this is not a time for like hanging on each other. Like, this is you, and just be with just vertical here, okay? I know there's this horizontal thing, but literally it was just, if you go up, I go up. Like, if you do it, I'll do it. If you raise your hand, I'll raise my hand. Like, it's like, please, like, you're going to see God one-on-one by yourself when you die. You're not going to have that person next to you. And that actually was my encounter with God, because when I had that encounter with God, that day I wanted to end my life, I had so many people in my mind to blame for my life and the things that I thought were wrong.
Yeah.
And I also had so many people that I thought were way worse than me. And I constantly said that in my head because I was getting in trouble for things. And I'm like, hey, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that, And in my head, there was always this thing with other people. It was very codependent in my brain. But when I had that encounter with God, even the guy that was praying for me at the time, that was physically in front of me, was not there.
Yeah.
No one was there but me and God. And I saw that I was responsible for all the choices that I made.
Yes.
And that I was me, and there was this, I need to get right here one-on-one. And so me and Brad is like, we all affect each other. Mm-hmm. And that's part of Christianity too. I don't really know that part very well. I'm learning it.
Yeah.
But I like, even with Reflect Love Back, it was stand on your own feet in your faith. Like, you need to know how do I get through this when there's nobody around? You need to know how to open the scriptures and let it speak to you. But I think a lot of that actually discounted even just that language.
Yeah.
Just discounted a lot of the people in my life that came alongside at the exact right time, or I'd be dead so many times.
Right.
And so there's this tug of war of like codependency and isolation, and I don't need anybody. Mm-hmm. Because that's absolutely, both of those things are important. So there's a balance there. I don't need anybody, and it's all everybody's fault, and I can't do it without having everybody help me.
What we want, here's the thing, especially America, we think everything has a one-to-one causation. This happens because of this, and that's it, right?
That is a Western thought.
It's a Western thought
idea.
And the fact is, it's all of the things you just said. Sometimes we have to stand on our feet. Sometimes we need to lean on somebody. Sometimes we need to get away from blaming other people. Sometimes it is their fault. Sometimes we just need to own our decisions. So it's like this, but it's this culmination of all of that, right? That we have to learn how to get out of the mindset that, no, this is my thing I stand on. I stand on everybody needs to be alone. It's like, no,
that was my thing.
Right. That was your thing. So, but we have to be able to, operate in a way that's like, can have the Holy Spirit. And we talk about it in the book where like the Holy Spirit has to like speak to your heart and lead you to what is right for the person sitting in front of you.
Yes. That's exactly what the truth is.
Because everybody's different.
That's exactly the truth.
But there is one thing I want to point out that you said that is important. So a Christian psychologist I really like called Dan Allender does a lot of work with people coming through sexual abuse. And he, in one of his books, The Wounded Heart, talks about how even when he works with the person that's been through the most horrible of sexual abuse, typically before they get their healing, they go off and hurt other people.
Yeah.
And he has to break it to them like, even though this happened to you, it does not give you the right to sin against other people.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we see people that are like you said right before, when you're with your suicidal thoughts, it's like blaming everybody else.
Yeah.
But it's really us, right? And a lot of times people have those thoughts, or they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing because somebody really did hurt them.
Yeah.
Like really did. But it doesn't give us the right to
Right.
blame everybody for everything.
Right.
That's where the forgiveness of God comes in. That's where
Yeah.
the vertical relationship with God to give you the strength to forgive comes in. Because I will tell you, in our actual documents, the only person I say in there, I'm like, for the ministry, the only person I can't help is a person that blames everyone else or isn't willing to change.
Yeah.
Because people come in sometimes and, oh yeah, I left this organization because of this and this. There's just a litany of reasons they've left every other drug rehab. They've left every family relationship, but never is it their fault.
Right.
And that person is usually somebody that can't be helped until they get to the point where, oh, wait a minute, the only common denominator is me in all of this.
Yeah. And I think that's the most freeing feeling in my life is when I start searching for what's the deal with me.
Absolutely.
Like to be like, what? And that is what I learned about unity is that it comes like there's that whole plank in your own eye parable, the plank eye parable
Plank eye.
is really and truly, if I'm getting very angry at somebody or upset or hurt, offended, I need to find out where is that in me. And almost it's impossible in the moment that you're offended. But if you work really hard and you actually ask God honestly, okay, show me, am I doing this to you somehow? Like, how in the world am I doing this somehow to somebody that you love or that I'm doing it to you?
Yeah.
And it is crazy how consistently I can see it.
Yeah.
And it's in that moment that I start to have compassion for that person that I'm so angry at, because then I see it in me. And then I'm able not only to have compassion and forgive them, but I'm also able to pray for them in a way that's honest. And actually, like he says, take the plank out of your own eye, and then you'll be able to see, to take the speck that you're looking at, which is probably just one little thing that you see, out of their eye. And I'm like, this is the key, actually, I think, is just constantly asking ourselves, okay, well, if I'm angry, where is that? What am I angry at? And where is that in my own life? In a seed form, maybe, but just as much orchard as any other.
An orchard. I like that.
Whatever.
But here's the funny thing about that is I see people that blame for all other things and they're miserable. But what they don't realize is like, if you actually take ownership, you take control back.
That's interesting.
Because if
it's so free.
The freeing comes from like, now I'm in control.
Okay.
Because now I can choose to say, okay, that's my part. And I can choose to either forgive or whatever. But if I think the whole world is coming against me, then the reason people get so angry and stressed in those situations is because they have zero control. Everybody is controlling everything around them in their mind. And it's simply like a mind shift of, oh, wait a minute, I'm allowing them to do this. I can also say no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow you to do this.
There's freedom in that.
Yes.
And that's a whole lesson in itself. We talk about that a lot on here too. Just like at what point, and it's this concept you just said. The opposite of addiction is connection.
Yes.
And I think it's similar, this concept of the opposite of like slavery is free love. Like, you can, if you have a slave, if you're like slaving because you feel like you owe somebody or you have to, and you're slaving and your mindset is a slavery mindset, you're like, I have to do this or there'll be consequences, right? And so maybe it's washing the dishes, maybe it's your work, or maybe it's some, whatever, I don't know. But then there's this other mindset of free love choice. Like then when you wash the dishes, you're like whistling, singing, maybe you're doing an excellent job. You like do it because you love them. And you're like, and it's really interesting to think about the opposite. And that you talk about that a lot in your book. You come into freedom from slavery, but then what do you do with your freedom? And that's really my heartbeat. My heartbeat is, that love honors your freedom. And what I'm writing about in your forward that actually I think will be a book for me one day, maybe one day, years from now, maybe when my children are grown, I don't know, is why is freedom worth the cost? Because the cost is that we can choose death.
Mm-hmm.
So why is freedom so important? How come? Because, I mean, on a, philosophical level, freedom, people say, well, we'll die, live free or die hard, give me liberty, give me death. People die for their country to be free and for their posterity. And freedom is like a thing.
It's a thing. Well, it's just another word for nothing left to lose if you're, what's her name, the singer.
Okay, tell me the song. You sing it to me.
Never saw the old me and Bobby McGee? Come on.
I don't know. You sing to me. Sing it. You sing it? I don't know.
No, but it's not to make this a sad conversation, but if you ever read anything from like the people that survived the concentration camps, or the talking about the slave trade and the slaves that came over, and how like Christianity, even that survived in this country, it survived because of the slaves that actually promoted the gospel with each other, and they would forgive. And just the if you read the amazing writings from the people that survived the concentration camps, it's like they were able to forgive their captors. That's like legit. Like that's the only way. And they talk about how other people wouldn't let things go, would die before they even went to the gas chambers because of the bitterness and anger and hatred in them. And the only way that some people that they're still alive, to years ago, whatever, but was through letting things go and just being like, I'm just going to forgive, and I'm not going to allow this to hold me anymore. And
I think to distinguish what forgiveness is, it's not excusing.
No.
It's not saying it wasn't wrong. It's not saying that that's not bad, which is so important that we know that forgiveness is acknowledging, which I think is heart-wrenching to think through, is that it's not ignoring, it's not forgetting in an ignorant way, it's not choosing ignorance.
It's also not a judicial system, and forgiveness doesn't like allow that other person to go on free. And that's how sometimes it's like we don't want to forgive often because it's some way of like they're not going to pay their price. Well, the truth is they're not going to pay the price you want them to pay anyways, right? So all you're allowing them to do now is make you sicker by holding on to this. And it all plays into, the truth is it's like for years, in going back to the recovery thing, it's like we try to make people recover by putting them in a program where they have to follow rules. And, we try to make people, get better in jails by locking them up. It's like this whole mindset that's going to work. That don't work. The law of liberty works. The law of liberty that like Jesus came to give is what works. So for me, it's like even the men I work with, it's like they're given total freedom, to some degree, where it's not a program. It's not something, a bunch of rules they have to follow. It's like, I want you to choose life. I want you to see that there's a life you can have, and there's a love that you can have, and there's an acceptance that you can have. And I want you to choose that. And majority of the time they do. But we often want people to change by not giving them the law of liberty. We take that away. And so the only way we can ever know if somebody really loves us is if we let them be free. You can't make somebody love you by abusing them. We know that, but yet we do, right? And so the flip side of that is don't allow yourself to be held captive by something that you could just simply let go.
Yeah. Wow. So let's just sit there for a minute. That's the thing. Wow, I'm commenting again.
I'm commenting.
So this is a really.
Oh, my wife.
Is she on?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. Hey, Julie. That's my wife.
The Uncovered by George A. Wood and Britt Eaton comes out in spring 2022. Yay! I'm so excited about that book, by the way. And I'm glad we get to talk about this because I think, just like you say in your book a lot, this is not an issue for people who have drug addictions or alcohol or any addictions. It is for every person who is on this journey to come out of this, well, the life that we all have to come out of in order to find the eternal life that starts now whenever we connect with that freedom that God gives us. Like in Christ, well, we talk about Jesus. That's where I found it.
Yeah.
It's like I had to understand what was this. And that was the most beautiful thing about God that I understood when I was looking at him as a 16-year-old unbeliever. I did not believe, and here I'm looking at God, and I expect him, because he's real and I have blasphemed him so long, I expect him to look at me with disdain and anger and like justice in my mind. And there's none of that. He saw it all. It's like I understood something about God when I was in front of God, is that I saw my own life with him. We did a life review. People have life reviews when they die. I didn't die, okay? I'm talking about this a lot on here. But I couldn't get over the fact that he saw all the things that I was horrified for anyone to see. The thoughts, the feelings, the hatred, the things that I judged in every other person that were all infecting me. They were like my own, and like stench. Like it was like the worst. And here he is, God, pure and holy and love. And he's not judging me. It's not that he's not condemning me. I'm condemning me. Right. And I'm sitting there realizing he's honored my freedom. He has honored what I've chosen. And he's shown me these were your choices. He was never pointing fingers at me the way that it's described in so many presentations of what God is like.
Yeah.
It's actually your own. He's just the light on. He's just, nothing's hidden. Yeah. And Jesus talks about that in John 3. He talks about how some people don't want to come to the light because they're afraid their deeds will be exposed and they know it's wicked. That's the way I felt in the presence of God. I was like, I need to find a dark space to go hide in, because everything's out there. And it's exactly what you hear in Genesis. Where are you? I was hiding because I was naked. I'm like, I heard you coming.
It's so funny because that's actually one of the first verses, like when I started thinking about the book, was Genesis 3. And I was looking at that part where, God says, where are you? Where are you? And they answer back, they're hiding because they're naked. The part where God says, who told you were naked? And so I just started thinking one day I was praying and I felt like the Lord was like, who told you you're an addict? Who told you you're mentally ill? Who told you that you're worthless? Who told you? And it's like all these false things. And I was like, I don't know, man, God was in the room and it just hit me. And I was just like, that's it. We hide because we believe the labels that the world has put on us.
Yeah. What does that mean that you're naked? It means I'm uncovered. But it's almost like, could you ever hide? Like, no, God saw it all. That's what I saw in that presence of God. Yeah. I didn't know he was watching me. It's not that Santa Claus, you better watch out. He's watching you, making a list, It's not that at all. It's that he's with you in your pain, in your hiding. He's never he's always the light. He's always the love you're searching for. And we keep going like this. Okay. And I saw this example with Bill Vanderbush one time, but I saw it actually another place before he did it. But like, here's God and here's you, and you're facing each other. And then we do this, and then we think because we did that, God does this, but he comes over here and then we do this again, and he comes back over here, and then we, he's the one that's always coming. Right. And it's not that he's coming over here. He's already both sides. He's everywhere. Right. There's nothing that he's not seen. And it's not because it's not in a way that should make you afraid. I mean, it should make you afraid, actually. I don't know how to explain this very well. It's not like he's looking at you that way.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you do if perfect goodness and perfect love was always with you? If you knew that and you never forgot it, would you ever look away from that? Would you ever go step into something that wasn't love? I mean, that is exactly what sin is. It says the Greek is the missing the mark. It means missing the mark of what? Of love. The law of liberty you're talking about. That's love. The perfect law of liberty is love. And of course, love is such a messed up word in English because we don't even know what love means. I mean, we make it into so many things. We think love is lust. That's just so horrific that we turn that word into a meaning for lust, and we say, oh, I can just free love whoever, love whatever. You know, it's not not the addiction. It's not the desire. It's that it is it's God's purity, it's holiness, it's light, it's freedom, not in a way that, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting way too deep in here before I can't get back up. I don't know. It's interesting because what we want, when we talk about freedom and we talk about, we're not saying, like you said, your guys at your program are free to, they have a lot of freedom and they don't really know like how to respond always to that. But what you want is them to make their own choice for. Right.
So look at it this way. So one thing that really helped me to see things differently was we are open-ended, right? In the organization that I run is open-ended. In other words, when people come in, they don't leave. There's not a time to leave. And what that makes is it makes the journey like, okay, it's not 6 months. It's not 3 months. It's not a year. It just is.
Yes.
Seriously. It just is. And
that's so kingdom.
And because that is it, right? It's like, and so that right there shifts a person's perception from what do I need to do to finish on time?
Yeah.
To, okay, what do I need to do to heal on time, right? And so it's like,
wow,
you're just here. We're doing life. And so what I preach and have preached for years is that like, I'm doing life. Would you like to come alongside and do life with me?
And that is how God treats us.
Right? So, but that changes like the whole idea of I have to do certain things in a certain amount of time to finish and move on. And so it just gives that freedom to just choose. So it's not like somebody comes in and I'm like, here's your Bible, memorize these verses and get those back to me. Every time we leave, you need to carry that Bible and tuck your shirt in and make sure you shave. It's like, it's not a bunch of behavior modification. I could give a crap about that. It's like, I want your heart to actually be like, do you have an extra Bible? I'd like to see why you live this way. And then, and it's a different thing, right? And part of that is, I think that so many people, like Jesus says, if the eye is bad, then what we see will be bad, right? And I think that so often what we see is bad Christianity. The presentation, I like how you said that nicer. The presentation isn't always that great. And what we see is what our own brokenness related in other people. So
like, I think it was, I'm just going to use another quote. It's Secret Garden. I think he said all liars think everybody's lying to them.
Yes. Yes.
Is that I'm going to think you're stealing from me if I'm stealing
from you.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think when for people's eyes to get better, they need to like be in a trustworthy environment where they begin to like accept what they're seeing. And so the only way that can happen is in an open-ended, environment where they have the liberty to choose when they want to choose. Not, you better choose it within the next 6 weeks because you move on to the next phase.
Yeah.
Nobody moves on in phases in life, right? What's interesting, I just got to throw this out there. What we found is most of our men, it takes about 3 years before like men, their brains are healed and they're making the right decisions and they're really ready to just make good decisions in life. And you know what else was 3 years?
What?
The ministry of Jesus.
Wow. Yeah, it was.
and it just like, I was like,
yeah.
It wasn't like to be cool to say that or sound cool.
But you just literally experienced that.
3 years,
He walked with them and changed their brains.
That's just usually what it is. It's usually right around 3 years before people are really thinking different. You see people, and interestingly enough, people are sober, a year, but they're still not thinking right. They're still picking the wrong women to date. They're still picking the wrong job to try to stay afloat. It's like, 3 years. That's just what it is. It takes a while. So for me, it's just like, I think as followers of Jesus, if that's what you are, it's like just walking alongside people and saying there's a different way to live life.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing is there's a crazy adventurous journey when we dare to believe that you can just love people where they're at, no matter what. And that's what I'm writing about too in the forward is this journey that I have been walking through, healing from losing people that, you know, when you lose somebody that you want, I mean, you've dealt with this so much. I mean, you wrote a book about this because of probably all of these things. Yeah. But I'm like, I don't have that many people that I have loved so deeply, but I have a few that I've loved so deeply and they chose to in their lives. Yeah. And to me, when you go through something where somebody that you love chooses to self-destruct somehow or chooses to not love you or to reject you or, you know, even just like cut you out of their life or whatever, your natural response in general should be, I'm never going to love people like that anymore. I'm never going to feel that, at least, even if I'm supposed to be a Christian and supposed to do good things and I'll love them. Mm-hmm. I will do the right thing, but I won't feel anything. And that's kind of what, I mean, I wrote about that in the mystery, just how I was on this. Well, the first response is, I don't want anybody in my life at all. Mm-hmm. I don't want any relationships. Now, I'm just going to read the Bible. It's going to be me and God. It's never going to work that way with God because, no. And so that's, so it's like somebody, I say this in the book, like, and as I was thinking about this, is if somebody knocked on my door, I'd be like, go away. I'm learning how to love people by reading, you know?
By reading.
And so I remember the moment when he's like, okay, you've read enough. Now you need to go love people and you need to work this out. And I got into a relationship with a spiritual parent. Like I talked about this, like just a pastor and his wife that had been in my life as he was actually a youth pastor that wasn't that he was a business person now. He's not a pastor anymore. He just was in the business world. And he's just trying to follow Jesus in his everyday life and trying to hear what Jesus was saying to him and committed to walking with me through some things.
There's some things.
Like my hatred of humanity. But in the end, I had to learn to trust a few people, and because I almost died not trusting people. I almost died in that, you know, and so I had to learn to trust in people. And as I learned that, it didn't work out even with those people. Even that relationship was shaken. And I remember writing somebody else and be like, what about this? Like, what about if your leaders are like not who you thought, or your relationship was something you thought or whatever? What do you do? And it was so clear. It's like, only God is God enough to be God for you. Mm-hmm. If you try to make somebody else that in your life, God will show you they need forgiveness too. And you can't make idols or they'll fall. They'll just fall on their face. The idols will, it's not that God doesn't, he's jealous. Well, he is, and it's not that he's egotistical and he's like, you must worship me alone. Yeah. It's like, if you want a lifesaver, there's one.
Well, I think it's that. And I think it's a mix of like, you know, we become what we behold. And so if we end up beholding leaders, the best we could do is become like them.
Yeah.
And eventually when they let us down, which they do, I let my people down all the time. So let me just be clear. I'm not saying Christian leaders fail. I am like, don't look at me. I will screw you up every time. Look to Jesus. Yeah. I'll just be your guide through part of the journey. But look to Jesus. Don't look at me. I'm going to screw something up in the next 20 minutes. So, but the truth is like we become what we behold, and often we behold leaders, and when we realize they're not who we thought we were, then we get angry and bitter. Yeah. Right. But the truth is, leadership it's a man-made construct that is not of this kingdom, right? The kingdom leadership is the last will be first. It is,
Servant,
Jesus
servant.
tells his disciples to not lead the way we follow leaders in this world. You realize that, right?
Yeah,
He's
said,
just like, that's the way that
lead that way.
That's the way that the world leads, but
Yeah.
yet that's how we develop our leadership teams. So that's a whole nother topic. But the point is, it's like, we can't look to people. We have to look to God. And I want to comment on what you said. You go, I just want to read my Bible, and that's how I love people. I'm a neuroscience nerd, big time.
Awesome.
I love neuroscience, and so one thing that they talk about in neuroscience is the law of specificity. And you, as a musician, should know this. It's like you can't learn how to play guitar by reading about it.
Yes.
It's specificity. It's like that. The part of your brain that actually needs to learn the task has to do the task.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of people that try to be Christian that read the Bible and they don't do anything else. So it's like you have to. I have Julie and my wife and I have people tell us all the time when
Neuroscience master student here. What's up, Holly?
Yeah. So it's like they'll say, I can't believe you guys do this. This person hurt us. I couldn't do this all the time. It's like, well, it's sort of what Jesus calls us to.
Yeah.
Right? It's like we're called to
It's
to
so
do this.
good. And that's, it's funny you say that because I wrote that almost word for word in the forward about how I was trying to go to school because, like I said, I had somebody who I loved die of an overdose. There was several people that died after that in a row in my circles or sphere or whatever. And I was really struggling with this concept of freedom and why is it worth the cost of, and I know it's love. Okay, it's going to be love. Okay, what does that mean? And why? Like, why is that worth it? And I'm struggling with this and I'm wrestling with this. I'm reading all kinds of books about suicide and about different things. And I decided I want to go to school. So I started going to school, reading about freedom and suicide, those two things together. I'm reading about what is freedom and why do we use it to self-destruct. That I'm reading about that all the time and studying it in school. And then I get in this relationship with this person that's pretty familial. Like they become like family to us. And I'm thinking, this person is really needy right now. And I'm just had a baby and I'm having postpartum depression and I'm trying to go to school. And my husband is like in Europe and I don't know. I mean, this person's great, but how it felt like a distraction, and I'm like, whenever I was in the relationship and actually walking with this person, I was totally filled with grace and wisdom and love and able to handle everything that came. But when I thought about what I was doing, I would get this weird, vague sense of like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you don't,
yeah.
This is like, you don't have the capacity for this. What are you doing? Like, you need to go to school. And I couldn't go to school. I ended up running out of money to go to school and I had to quit doing that. And I just thought, I wish I was going for this answer to my question. And it turns out I was living the answer.
Yep.
In front of me, in my home with my children, in my home with, the people that God had brought into my life, this particular person. And it's like, you cannot learn this from a book.
Nope.
You have to learn it in a relationship, loving the person that's in front of you.
Yeah.
You're not going to know why love is freedom is worth it, or love is worth the cost. What I'm really asking is love worth it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you're loving somebody and then you watch them go through with the self-destruction.
Yeah.
And you look back with forgiveness, which is the miracle key ingredient to all of this, and say, I would do that again 1,000 times.
Yeah.
if I got another day to love that person, I would do it better than I did before, and I would do it in a heartbeat. And if I look at somebody in the face and I, God whispered, they're not going to be here tomorrow. They're going to spit in your face tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I would say, well, I get to love them right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, well, it took that.
Mm-hmm.
It took loving somebody, walking with them, and it being so-called rejected or being so-called like a waste almost. If you could almost call it a waste, because I remember that feeling whenever I heard the news of this person's self-destruction.
Yeah.
I was like, what was that about, God? Why would you bring somebody into my life when you knew you were going to let them come home to heaven? Because you can interrupt that process. You did it for me twice.
Yeah.
You can do it. You've heard so many stories. And you have 7 times, right? You said.
Yeah.
And you're going to let them come home. And you knew that. Like, I'm like, you why did you bring them into my life? Like, what was that about? And I just heard my own questions start coming to me. Like, is love worth the cost? Mm-hmm. And oh my God, I'm like, you love us like this. You know what we're going to do and you love us anyway. You know we're going to spit on you and you keep dying for us. Like, oh my God, like, just like, Father, forgive them for they don't know what they do while we're killing you, like on the cross with our, like, this is what you are. This is love. This is the gospel. This is you. And then I'm like so pissed at the enemy. I'm so angry that I'm like, and every time it starts to bother me in my brain, I'm like, gonna get online and start loving people. I'm like, I'm gonna sing y'all a song tonight. Because the enemy's trying to make me push my face down to the ground and make me feel worthless and that life isn't worth it. So I'm going to go love you right now.
Can I want to say something just, as a friend and be really direct.
Please.
Okay. So I think the moment we make something about us, we've missed it. It was never
great.
about you.
That's great.
And so, if people are like, why did I waste my time? Why did you have me do? It's like, you're probably going to be upset. It's not about you. It's about maybe not that person, but maybe somebody that they told about you that was helping them. You just don't know the connections, and that's where all of us being connected matters. It's like, not only that, but you don't know if the next person you do that for doesn't decide to kill themselves. Yes. And so we do what we do because our roots are deeply entrenched in the person of Jesus. Yeah. And our love is fed through him, and we can't make things about ourselves. And if you do, you'll be lost if you really get with hurting people. It's just hard. Because I think before, like you said, if it's about me, which I didn't even think of it that way. I was just thinking of like, no, obviously you're correcting me, but I felt like it was like you put me on a failure journey to fail. Mm-hmm. You set me up to to give me, to put some, it's like you gave me love and hope and vision for something. Only that because there's so much vision in relationship. Oh, yeah. You believe for them. You believe 100%. And that's exactly how God believes for us. He believes in us. Mm-hmm. He has plans for us to give us a hope and a future. Like he says that. Mm-hmm. And of course we have choices to make, and there's chapters we won't open according to our choices, I believe. We're on the choose your own adventure story. Mm-hmm. And I think, like, to me, I'm like, my thought process was, why would you give me love and vision instead of just letting me know, like, this is how this is going to end. So don't make yourself vulnerable, like, right, or whatever. And it's like the complete opposite of the gospel. It's like, because what about boundaries? I read that book. Oh my God. Like, that's a good one. I'm sticking to my boundaries.
No, my gosh. Help us. I mean, for a season, it really was important, but it was very small.
It was a very small season.
Small season.
Can I share a short story? It was early on in TI and the ministry, the Timothy Initiative. So And it relates to this. We had a guy that had been with us for 6 months. He came in. When he came in, he didn't know how to read. God gave him the ability to read.
Wow.
Came in. He had been out of jail. He'd been in prison for a while. Came out of jail. Restored relationship with his daughter, with his family, and it was this amazing turnaround. And it just like we were early as an organization. Everybody, he was like our poster child, and so everybody loved this guy.
Oh, yeah, I think I read about this in your book.
His family talks about, what he came to see me one week, and there's like, can't believe what you've done for our son. And I was like, oh, yay, me, everything, right?
Yeah.
And then one Sunday, he went to visit his mom after church, and he didn't come home. And that Monday morning, we have devotional where, the guys, there's 20 some guys, they'll come, and I'd stand in front of a room and talk about Jesus, whatever. Well, they all get there, but they're like, hey, you didn't come home last night. And I'm like, that's weird. And I'm just getting ready to start, and one of my leaders comes in from the back of the room. So the guys are all looking at me. I'm looking at him. He's like, I need you outside. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, hey, Randy died of a drug overdose last night.
Oh, my God.
And the guy, he was with us. He lived in our house with us. His roommate was in that room, all 20 guys. I mean, everybody loved this guy. I had to walk in there and tell a group of 20 people what had just happened. And like immediately, like this was new to me. What the heck do I do? And called my board members, and I'm like, could you come and help minister to the guys? Cause I can't minister to 20 guys cause I just can't. And so my board came over, and one of my board members pulled me aside, and here's a guy that has given like thousands and thousands of dollars to us as an organization. And he just looks at me and he's like, man, if this is going to be the outcome, then why are we even doing this?
Yeah.
And Holy Spirit just came upon me, and words came that I'd never even thought of. So had to be the Holy Spirit. And I was just like, we do this because we've now shown this man the love of the Father. So when he crosses over, he'll know who the Father is when his time to enter eternity.
Yeah.
And I just... And that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
All of us, not because we want lives. I mean, we want them, but they don't get saved. They don't get transformed. They don't live the American dream, but we just persevere because we want them to know the Father.
Yeah. And the transformative, I mean, it's not just them that gets transformed.
No.
Especially in that moment, what you just said. You were transformed because you heard that from God. You didn't know the answer.
No.
And that is the answer. And that is the adventure he's called us on. It's like he calls us on this adventure to love people with him.
Yeah.
He's like, no matter what choices people make, they're worth loving.
Yeah.
And that's the most beautiful thing I've ever understood. It's not something you can read about in a book.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about it. And we can tell you, people in here that we've lived through it, but it's something that when you walk through it, that's when you get it. That's when the light.
I just, for me, it's like, I want to be with the people that feel like they have no hope and have not been loved by anybody. Because I just think that everybody is worthy of love, and their story may make them feel like they're not, but they really are, I'm just somebody that's much more drawn to the margins of society than I am to the mainstream of society. And it's really weird for me, even with this book, because I'm not trying to get famous. It's like, but I want the book out there, so I have to do stuff like this. And well, you're my friend, so this is fine, but I'm not trying to like promote George Wood. It's like, I want to help people understand how to help the people on the margins of society. Because we don't know how. Well,
whenever you talk, it's funny that you even say that because it's so obvious, but when you talk, you are not promoting yourself ever. Yeah. You're promoting the miracle that happens. And it's a miracle you want to share. You're teaching people how to walk a miraculous life of love that's miraculous even when the results aren't what we think they should be.
Yeah.
And that's the most powerful, just freaking shut up Satan thing I've ever heard. Like, it's like, okay, what next? Like, where do we go next? Like, and I remember you talking about that in the book when your sister passed, that you just got like this thing that we were like, I'm going to do this even better than ever before.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this harder. Like it's so important. And Brian talked about that in the beginning of my book. The reason Brian Headwell talked about that, he's going to actually endorse your book.
Yes, he is.
He's been reading your book.
Yes.
You guys, all your corn fans out there. I talked to Brian about George's book, and he was super excited because there's not a lot of. I
gotta admit, I was so excited. One day I woke up and I had an email from Brian Welch. I circled it and I took a picture of it and sent it to my staff. I was like, "Hey,
yay!"
Like, hey,
but that's exactly what he wrote in the beginning when he wrote with a forward. I think for the reason he was writing how some people, shut down when they lose their son to cancer and don't know how to raise up out of the dust, out of the ashes of that. And that's a tragedy that, the ripple effect goes that way. And he said, and some people take that pain and they turn it into an organization to raise money for research, and they talk to parents face to face that go through those things, and they know how to walk them through that. And he's like, it was just interesting because that's exactly what I was reading about in the beginning. Yeah. But it got even that you even kind of like winked at. You're like, well, that was a phase, but there was something much more, even beyond that than just the motivation of. Yeah. But to me, that motivation is still in me. Yeah. Like, I'm like, oh, so we can move past this and like we can be more steady and not just be like reactionary.
It's Satan. I know the devil very, very well. He's tried to take me out many, many times. And what you didn't mention is like my sister died from the drug overdose, and I was like, I have to do something, and got ready to start the organization and was in the middle of starting it. And it was 7 months later, 7 months after my sister died, my brother died from his drug overdose. So it was like back to back. And it was the first week the Timothy Initiative was officially like starting. We'd launched. It was January 17th. I was, and that was just like, no way, Satan. That's not, no. You showed your cards. I know what you're trying to do. So, yeah, I mean, of course it was hard. It was my brother. It was back to back with my sister, but I never thought about not doing it. I knew what I had to do. Because somebody prophesied over me something. I was like, I'm not receiving that. And they're like, you're just the guy that's gonna be in the middle of people's trauma. That you're equipped for that. And I'm like, I don't want to say. I want the joy title. Can I have the joy title? It's like, can I be the fun guy? I've been told many times I'm not funny, so it's like, I don't know. All right, I'll be the trauma.
That was funny.
I'll be the trauma guy, but. In the last few years, being with people that have lost their children to suicide and, just crazy Jesus moments that are just not like the Jesus moments that are on a Hallmark card.
Yeah. Wow.
They're not the ones anybody wants to do, but we got to do, right?
Well, that's like Superman stuff.
I don't know about that, but it's
the upside down kingdom stuff.
Yeah.
To me, it's like it's the most hope-filled thing I've ever heard, because people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Even in the places where people get healed all the time, they talk about all the healing. We talk about even in recovery circles, you're only allowed to talk about your recovery. You're not allowed to talk about, which is okay. I mean, that's good because you want to come away encouraged that you can overcome. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, when you hear somebody say, this is where we're going to stay right here in the trauma. Yeah. We're going to stay with them as they walk through the pain.
Yeah.
And that's where, and if it ends in somebody not making it out so-called alive, this life on this side, then we know that we did what we could with where we were with our time. We did the best. We loved. Can we look back and say, did we love? Did we do what we're called to do?
Yeah.
And that's the most hope-filled thing, is that because people don't hear that story. They don't hear people say, yes, let's face it together. Right. They say, watch out for the bad people. Don't hang out with them.
Yeah.
Go over here and do this. You know what I mean? Like, and make sure you have your boundaries because you can only handle so much.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, and some of that's true in certain seasons of your life.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Depending on your calling, you know, what you're called to. That's important. Like you said, I'm called to, why can't I be called to the joy thing?
I want to be, you know, the Georgian Banoff. I want to be the fun guy.
But you know what's funny about that is most of the people like that say they want to be that, they do the other.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to be a rock star. I wanted to go in the huts and the villages with the people who live without electricity in the, you know, middle of Africa or wherever, you know, and just, I wanted to see, like, I wanted to go and like do the extreme things that are dangerous and, you know, the poverty stuff. Like I just, and God's like, that's great. Can you put on a fancy dress and some makeup and do a photo shoot? I'm like, photo shoot? You're going to take pictures of me? It's really strange. Will you be a rock star? You know, and it's interesting because I know a lot of people who want to be rock stars, and God's called them to be a stay-at-home parent.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, I remember this one time. Oh my gosh. I remember this one time there was this guy who was he was in a band and he was a singer and he was pretty good and their band was pretty good and they were getting pretty known. And but the guy was married and he was just a horrible husband. Just like, I'm like, what about your wife? Like, isn't she pregnant? Like, and you're like, it was just the way he talked about it. Like, it wasn't even a thing. Like, I'm like, where's your family? Like, maybe she had a kid. I don't remember. But anyway, it was just like this impression of like him being such a bad husband. I'm like, I'm glad I didn't marry you. You know what I mean? Like, it was just such a weird. Yeah. It's almost like he forgot he had a wife or something. Like when you talk to him, it was just, to me, it was really appalling. And so I'm saying though this because one day this same singer was around, and my pastor's wife, my spiritual mom, she was there, and she's like this. She's just, I don't know. She just doesn't realize what she's doing half the time. She's just talking or whatever. But she said, hey, I saw your band or whatever. Let me just pray for you. And she's like, or maybe she didn't even know he's in a band. No, she did. But anyway, she starts praying for him and she goes, you know what? God says you are just the most amazing husband. And God just says you're the best husband. And he started talking about him being this great husband. And I was just like,
what?
And all of a sudden, this dude just starts crying, weeping. Yep. He quit his band and he went home and he stayed with it was like his calling. Like I just felt after that, it was like a miracle happened. Like he knew his calling was not out on the road. It was not what he's called to do at all.
Wow.
He was called to be like by his wife's side in the home with his family, which is everybody's got different things.
Yeah, I got you.
But it was just so interesting because I was like, I wish I was supposed to go home because I keep feeling I'm supposed to go out.
So, like, I want to go home.
But it was so beautiful because it's only God knows the thing in our heart that we're going to exalt to a place of thinking that we know it all, And I am in a place where I feel like I don't know nothing.
And I know less and less each day. I had somebody tell me, one of my guys I'm discipling, he said to me yesterday, he goes, man, I'm struggling a little bit. And I said, what's going on? He's like, I'm feeling like a hypocrite. And I go, well, why? And he's like, the more I read about in the Bible, I just realize the more I actually sin. It's like, I go, welcome to the club, man. I feel like I know less today than I knew last year. So it's almost like a backwards journey. It's like I just know less. I know more of what I want and less of what I actually know. Yeah,
I don't, and that's where I'm at right now. People keep asking me about they're like, when are we gonna do Reflect Look Back, or when are we gonna do, we're gonna do any more They ask me. We talk about God on here all the time, and we were talking about God a lot. Here,
I was told I wasn't supposed to, and then I come out. I forgot what Josh told me not to do. Staying in the guy's house. He's going to kick me out.
He's just trying to say there's not everybody's Christians on here, and that's great because
most people actually don't think I'm a Christian. So,
well, it's the tattoos and the cool, way you talk, like how you lived in a lifestyle that people don't acknowledge that God's there, but he's there. He does things there too. But I think, like, for me, I don't want to talk. I don't intend to try to teach people, and so people are asking me questions on here, and half the time I'm like, I don't even know how to answer, because the more that I go on this journey, the less I know. And the more like you said about the Western mindset is A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
This goes in this category. We come from our science is Latin and our medical language is Latin, and it's categorizing and it's putting things here and there and systematic. And the Eastern mindset is both and.
I love the Eastern mindset.
Yes, well, that's where we're at right now with our journey with Jesus. He's teaching us about he's Middle Eastern.
I know. It's kind of weird, right?
Jesus was a Middle Eastern guy. And so when we learn more about the context, the more it's like, oh, this is deeper than I thought. This is wider. This is another dimension altogether. Like,
it's what I feel like it's only been a few years since the Western Church has realized Jesus wasn't white. And I'm not actually sure that the majority of the Western Church actually believes that he wasn't white.
I think the problem is the word white. What does that even mean? I think we're lost there.
Yeah.
I think we get lost when we say something's white. I don't know where that happened.
I don't know where you're going with this, so
I looked that up on the government. I was like, what is white? And it literally doesn't make. I mean, I'm like, I still don't. It's like defines it there. I don't know.
White is actually an absence of color, so there's that.
There's a white light up there. We all have pigments in our skin tones, and it doesn't always correlate with where you're from, or
it does not.
Who raised you, or
actually has nothing to do with who raised you.
I don't know. I don't even know what it means.
I think the pigmentation's there before somebody raises you.
I think it's a mentality.
I don't know about that.
I remember my mom used to say things like, we won't get into it. She's like, that's mighty white of you. I'm like, well, what does that mean?
What did I take back what I gave you? Sorry.
No, my mom. So
no, I get it. I was making a joke.
So I don't know, because I don't think that way, because, I was raised different. I don't know. I didn't really know my dad, but my dad's side of the family, I know him now a little bit more. A lot of them have passed away. But they came from a Native American background where the Native American...
I know, you told me that earlier tonight.
So my grandma was full-blooded Cherokee, and the story is that she was abandoned in the war, and she was picked up out of the dirt when all of her family was killed, and she was adopted by a so-called white family, probably German. Mm-hmm. That's white?
Well, German's white, yeah.
I don't know.
Is that a question?
I mean, what if you're... I don't know,
There's
whatever.
nothing wrong with that.
They say Indians, like we call us Indians, even in like the American Indian month. But my guitarist in Flyleaf was from India. And I think he actually was born in America. So I think he's an American Indian, but it's completely different from Native American.
Have you ever done one of the tests? What is the test?
No.
You should do one.
We'll see what happens.
I thought I was Indian. I did the test and I'm nothing. I'm like, I'm everything.
Nothing?
I'm like one from every country in the world. It's like, okay, there's zero.
You're more like Jesus, who's everything.
Okay. I don't know about that, but yes, Jesus was. Obviously, I'm not so sure.
He's the second Adam, right?
The second Adam.
New creation.
Yes.
For Havanians.
But he's also in all things.
One new man. Oh my gosh. How do you know about that? Where did you come from? That's true. Absolutely true.
I mean, it's in the Bible, Lacey.
Okay, where is it?
It's in John.
Okay, yeah.
It's in the book of John. He was before all things, and he was in all things, and he is in all things.
Okay, that's a really big deal. So we're on a journey. Anyway, we're not trying to get into this because I'm not trying to teach anybody anything. I'm learning. I'm a learner. Okay? So please correct whatever. I'm going to read some of you guys' comments. If you guys have any questions, What time is it? It's 9:34. I don't know how long. We've been on here an hour and a half. So we have about 30 minutes to ask questions, and maybe Josh will sing a song, and you can type in lyrics if you want.
You can type in lyrics to the song Josh will sing?
Yeah, I sing the lyrics.
Oh.
He plays guitar. I sing.
And they can type the lyric.
Yeah, they type in lyrics. I choose whether to read them or not, whether I sing them. You know, sometimes it's...
Lacey just messaged.
26 minutes left.
26 minutes.
Okay. All I know is I'm Native American, Polish, and other things. Lol. Okay. Summer.
I want to hear Josh sing.
I'm not singing a song. Oh, it's Josh. That's Josh. I'm Native Mexican. Well, okay. So we're going to, if you guys have any questions about anything we've been talking about, it can be about anything. I might not know the answer, but we might have something that would help somehow. I have a couple family members who are super controlling, always blaming everyone else for their issues. I never know if I'm setting up boundaries or just being ignorant to my own issues that they point out. How do you know what's true and should be listened to, or is just lies? Yes, that makes sense. It's a good question. It's a good question, and it's a hard one to answer because, you know, your situation's unique. You know, and in my experience, there's been seasons where I'm in a situation and are you reading it?
I'm reading Lacey.
Josh, what's George's favorite tattoo? Okay, we'll get to that question. But I think, you know, it's a great question because we want to be humble and we want to consider, maybe I do have this issue. Maybe I am, you know, having that problem. And then we also don't want to swallow things that are not true and take on a false identity, like George was talking about, because sometimes people do just spew out abusive hatred and they try to label you with the things that they have problems with, which I've noticed that's really common. Like we said earlier, liars think everybody's lying. And you have to realize sometimes, wait, when you're like, was I lying? And you're like, no, wait, I was not lying. You know, like you can come to a place of solid ground and need that sanity. So what would you say? What do you think?
I usually give the advice that I think you have to have an image of who you want to be and what does healthy look like for you. And it's, you know, somehow it's this misnomer in our society that we have to be part of our genetic family. If they are unhealthy for you, then the passage I always go to is when Jesus was with his disciples and someone comes and says, your mother and brothers are at the door. And Jesus actually doesn't say, let them in. He says, who are my brothers and my mother, but those that are in here that are seeking the kingdom of God. So it's okay to like look at other people as your family if your actual family is unhealthy. So I would not, you know, I wouldn't hazard a guess to say you're right or you're wrong about what they're saying because I'm not present. But if it makes you feel, you know, bad and not worthy, then I would step away. Yeah.
I think discerning where it takes you. Does it take you to a hopeless place? You know, does it?
Yeah.
Then that's that's probably not the safest environment. And to be able to find a truth that leads you to clarity and hope and, you know, then that's...
You know, there's an interesting concept about like polarity and, you know, things attract each other. And so toxicity absolutely attracts toxicity. And to pull away from toxicity, it will fight. And so I've seen families, and I don't know if your family's toxic or not, but I'm sure mine was. And so I know toxic families often will not want the family to pull apart because that just makes them be alone in their toxicity. And so that, you know, a lot of times families I'm around definitely need to be apart from each other.
Yeah, because like he's talking about, like sometimes, I mean, it gets into enabling. Sometimes just the fact that you're there makes them able to be toxic, when if you weren't in the picture, then that would be even more healthy for them to not have that outlet.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we think, oh, I'm loving them by staying. And actually, the loving thing to do sometimes is to walk away so that they can get healthy and learn to face the things that they need to face.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. There's time for that.
Yeah. Although if you go to another place and those people are the same way, then you might want to make sure it's not you.
Yeah. Lacey, you should know we already talk about everything when you're not looking at the screen. Yes. Thanks, monkey. Okay, and Kristen has her own story of overcoming. Yeah. And I'm really thankful that you're here, Kristen. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. I love that you're on. I love how you encourage people and you're always reaching out. And I hope you're still going to counseling and getting help too, because even the helpers need help too. Mm-hmm. What's George's favorite tattoo? Good question.
Actually, it is my latest one. I got this one on my neck that is Ephesians 2:6, seated in heavenly places.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately, actually.
Because I just think it's cool to be like, I'm always high. I am always high.
Seated in heavenly places. Where else can you go?
Yeah. That's it.
Ephesians 2:6. I'm always high. There we go. New quote. Okay.
I'm always high. I was actually going to bring you one of the shirts. But I was like,
Is this shirts? Go to the website.
Yeah.
Can you buy these shirts on your website?
They will be coming on the new website. Yeah. Not yet.
When is that going to be done?
Next week.
For
we're
Christmas?
Hoping.
Yeah. I'm going to get one for my brothers. All my brothers.
All my brothers.
Yeah. Okay. I totally get you. Okay. I don't know what y'all are a separate conversation. Yeah. When is your book going to be released? And will there be an audiobook? I like to listen to things.
Yes.
Not read things. Yay. I love audiobooks too because
yes.
I'm always cooking or cleaning or driving or something.
Yeah. The book will be released in the spring of next year, and there will be an audiobook. And the publisher hired us to do 2 books. So
cool.
There's a second book that we're writing right now that is a 365-day devotional on the Uncovery. So the book is called The Uncovery, like we've sort of talked about tonight, but the devotional will actually be step by step how to walk through the process of the Uncovery, whether you're the person struggling or whether you're walking with someone who is struggling or whether or not you want to be an advocate to help people.
Yay.
Just to give you like some hard facts right now, this just 2 weeks ago, it came out that in the last fiscal year, we had over 100,000 people die from drug overdose. Now, to tell you what that means, we've never crossed 100,000 people in death and suicide or addiction overdose. It doesn't matter. Combined, we hadn't. Since 2015, that's doubled.
Oh my gosh.
So in 2015, only 50,000 people died. In this last year, over 100,000 people died from drug overdose and suicide, and you're not seeing like the news coverage about that the way that you should. It's a massive epidemic that is killing more people. Most people don't even realize this, but the age group of, I think it's teenager to 20-year-olds are the fastest dying age group now. It's past like old age people. It's our life expectancy because of the death by suicide and overdose has actually dropped. People don't realize that. It's not talked about, but like for the first time in like a century, we went backwards. So people, like, what I mean by that is at one point people only lived to 50 and then they only lived to 55 and then we got up to living to 80. Well, now it's back down to living to 67 or something crazy like that. So these are important facts. We're losing generations of people right now, like just losing them. And and that's just people that are dying. Let's think about if the people that are, dying, the number's getting that high, then the people that are actually using is also getting that much higher. Losing hope, finding ways to cope, and I hate to say it because here we are on a platform but people now not connecting in person.
Yes.
Because you really need to connect eye to eye, face to face with actual human beings.
Yeah.
And it's just, we're losing so many people. So the Uncovery, I really believe, is coming out at a time that has never been needed like right now.
Yeah. And so we're going to make sure that you guys have the information. I think your wife put that up, and Josh was asking about it too.
Yeah, you can also, Josh said, where can we get it? So you can go, I actually, my personal website is supposed to be up next week, georgeawood.com, but you can go to sobertruthproject.org, which is an organization that I founded that helps people do basically the Uncovery, and timothyinitiative.org, which is the ministry we were talking about tonight that works with men. Both the Sober Truth Project and the Timothy Initiative, you can find resources on and find out more about the work that we do. And we're on Facebook as well, and the usual social media hotspots.
So when we think about honestly, it gives you such a sense of hope and a sense of tools, almost like to be able to face somebody going through something. When you to read the book actually equips you to walk through things with people that you probably wouldn't be able to do without it.
Yeah.
And it's just all in one spot. And it's just, because there's so many books you can read about so many different things, but it addresses so much in one spot, and it's so concise, and it's easy to read, and it's not heady where you're like a bunch of medical information. Yeah. It's stories that help you realize, even if it goes that way, we can still keep going. We can still keep facing things and walking with people, and it's really awesome. I'm so thankful.
I think one of the things I was most proud about it, we just chose more stories where people actually don't make it than people that do. Mm-hmm. Because here's my thing. I love Jesus, and I love revival, and I love healing, and I believe in all that. But I also know that for every person healed, there's like a lot that aren't. Mm-hmm. And they feel like they're not loved by God because it didn't work for them.
That's what I worry about when we talk about that.
Yeah, and that's like my heart is like, I'm the guy who's going to go to the people that don't get healed, and the guy that don't get it, because they need to know that Jesus loves them just as much, and there are people that love them just as much. Anybody can be the guy that is at the service where everybody gets healed and loves it. Who wants to be at a in a park with a bunch of people that don't receive the love or the healing like everybody else? I mean, somebody has to be. And so I think we just need more people like all of you that are on here listening to Lacey, because if you're listening to Lacey, you probably think this way anyways, but we need to tell other people the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that, that concept of just feeling like, I remember every single time I tell my story, actually, about overcoming that moment of death, of wanting to die and planning to end my life and having this encounter with God. I remember this one time, I always think there's somebody in the audience who had somebody who didn't make it, that knows this and is asking, why didn't God save my mom or my sister or whatever? And I always, almost always makes me want to stop talking. Yeah. Because I'm like, if I tell the story, it's going to be hurtful to them. And I get so much feedback of people that it helps, that it makes me continue to tell the story. But that fear of that one person is still so real that I almost want to stop talking every time I tell my story, because I'm always thinking about that one that thinks that what you said, but what about so-and-so? Does God not love them? And one time somebody came up to me after I talked, and they said, I just want to thank you for what you talked about, because my sister died from suicide, and I was so angry at her and for doing that. I could never understand why she would have done such a thing. But when you talked, it helped me understand where she was coming from, so I can actually forgive her. Yeah. And she was like crying, and I was crying, and I was like, that's the one, and it worked. It wasn't bad for her. And then I think I posted after Chester Bennington's suicide.
Which really, really hit me hard.
Yeah, everybody. Oh my gosh.
He saved my life. I mean, that was when I was at my worst of my addiction, and their music saved my life.
Wow.
Yeah, really did.
Well, I had posted something, and I don't even remember what it was now, but I remember somebody commenting that was angry, and they were like, why do you feel like you need to comment every time something like this happens? Like, we get it. God loves you. He doesn't love everybody. And I was like, oh my God, like that is the biggest freaking lie I could ever hear said about that God I met that was love itself. I mean, that's what I learned from him. I hated people before that encounter. It wasn't that he loved me. I didn't walk away that he just loved me. I walked away understanding God loves. He is love itself, and there's not one he doesn't love the same. And I knew that, and no matter what our stories look like or how they go, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to get away from that eternal moment with God where I know he loves them the same as he loves me.
He died for all people.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really interesting you say exactly that. Like, you are going to go after the one who didn't experience that healing. And you tell the stories of the ones who don't make it the way that we expect.
Yeah.
Because there's something sacred and holy and honorable and amazing and privileged that we get to experience when we walk with somebody through that last part of their life. Because I remember thinking, like, well, how many times could they have died before they got there? You know how?
That's so true.
I mean, we Flyleaf put the Memento Mori album out there, and it's like, and right after that, our sound engineer had a car wreck and died, and he was like a daredevil, not dirt bike rider, but a motor, like Ducatis, like he rode street bikes. And he's like an adrenaline junkie. Like, he loves adrenaline. He's like doing crazy things all the time, and he's just in his car, seatbelt on, going the speed limit, hit something, and he went with us. Before that, his mom was freaking out because he went with us to Afghanistan to run sound for us when we played songs for the troops. And she's like, "You're going to a war zone. Oh my God, I don't want you to die." You know what I mean?
And he dies like that.
And it was like such a simple thing. And it's this concept of like, our life is, we don't know. You know, our life is a gift, and you don't know when it's your last day, and what are you going to do with it?
Yep.
You know, we have to. I remember my son saying this one time to my other son. I just overheard their conversation. He said, "You know, we just have to face death, Arrow." And I'm like,
what are your kids talking about?
I don't know.
We don't need to face death yet. You're like 3.
Like, yeah, but it was really profound to me, because I'm like, I remember when I was 10 and I lost my cousin, and I thought I was so comforted when people actually talked about it. I was like, I hated when people just went on and like went on about, listen to pop music, and because I loved pop music at the time, I couldn't listen to one pop song, and I couldn't watch any happy movies. I was like, what's wrong with the world? People die, like people get beaten, and like, children get abused, and I'm like, what's wrong with the world? Like, and it pushed me into depression. It was so relieving when somebody actually faced it. I was like, tell me that this exists. Okay. Well, at least you're normal. Like, watch the Addams Family or something. You know what I mean? like talking about death all the time. It's like I got into the death culture almost, like that gothic kind of, like, well, at least they're facing it. They might make a joke of it, but at least they're saying something.
Yeah. Death, my brother died when I was in first grade. And it was like, death was just, it's crazy. I meet some people that are like my age, which I'm a little bit older, and they've had like no death in their family. And I'm like, wait, really? Because I've lost, I've just seen a lot of death, and it's just always been around me. My best friend died. He got hit by a car when I was in 7th grade. And he was on life support. And I remember my father, I was down in Florida, and it was back in New York. And 6 days after he'd been on life support, my father taking me out back and starts telling me the story about the Vietnam War. My father was not a very good father anyways, but he's like, son, in Vietnam War, I lost people. And I'm like, what the heck is going I'm just sitting there like, all right. He's like, just like your friend, he didn't make it. I was like, what? And that, like, that was my talk, you know? That was the talk I got. But it's just been a real thing. And you just start to realize at some point that you're right. Every day is not promised, and make the most of it.
Yeah. So we get a minute to love.
Yeah.
We get a minute to talk about it.
That would be the title for your next book.
We get a minute to love.
We get a minute to love.
Wow. I don't know. Like, to me, there's something about it that just makes me angry at death itself. And just like, well, I don't care if you're going to come around. I'm going to live while I can to love other people and to like champion life in them to the fullest, whatever that looks like for the moment.
Right.
You know, it's weird. It's like, I don't know if you can teach that, or if you just have to, I don't know if you, I mean,
I don't know if you could teach that.
You just have to like experience something and be like, well, it feels like a freedom that comes with, we're going to die anyway. Might as well love while we can. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Well,
morbid and.
I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is actually I sort of stole from Martin Luther King, but he gave a talk once that was about writing your own obituary.
Wow.
And he was basically like, what would people say on your obituary? And it was something he did. He was a practice he would do. He would write his own.
Wow.
A lot to make him realize, what kind of life am I living? Mm-hmm. And what are people going to say about me when I'm gone? And are people going to miss me? Are people counting on me? And at the end of the day, do you care how nice your car is in the driveway when you're dying? Do you care how beautiful your home is? How many homes you own when you're dying? I mean, I suppose if you have a lot of money and you have a lot of kids and you want to leave it to them, maybe. But other than that, I mean, I want people to think, man, George Wood, he really was a great person who did a lot of good. Mm-hmm. I mean, he led people to Jesus. He showed people love. I mean,
I've heard people say that about you when you weren't around. Well, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God, for loving me. Because if you didn't, I'd hate everybody and I wouldn't be here. But
look who's here!
Yay! Hi.
That was amazing, guys. I watched the whole thing upstairs.
You actually commented.
I know.
It was really good.
That was great.
Yeah.
I'm here to end the stream because I feel like you guys could talk for a long time. Oh, yeah.
Ah!
You gave me no direction in that.
I know. We need direction.
Yeah, I need direction.
I need help.
No, honestly, it was really good. Lots of, we can go back later and you can read some of the comments, but.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Glad you liked it. Are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on.
All right. I'm going to say goodbye and let Josh and Lacey.
Can you answer this question real quick? Because I thought it was a good one. And I think it's, I don't know.
Him. This is you.
Yeah, you.
Oh, me? What am I answering?
Well, how are you going? Okay. How are you going to, this is actually for me, but you're the one who works with men. So I think you can answer this question.
Got it.
How are you going to help your boys find their calling in life as they get older? What has helped others in your life? I'm graduating from college next year, and I still feel like I don't know what to do.
Yeah. See, I think it's not about your kids.
I know, but you're the one that helps people.
I do have a kid in school, though, so.
But like you help men find
I do.
They're, right? I guess.
Yes. And I do help men. I think that it's important when we're looking at a calling, we're not looking at something to do, but something that's fulfilling. And this is what I teach my men, that no one has ever been fulfilled when their dreams are about themselves. It's proven time and time again that if you try to live for yourself, you will be miserable. I just had this talk with my men the other night. I said, there's never going to be enough money that you can make. There's never enough possessions that you can have. If you get a hot woman, she won't be hot enough for long. You want another hot woman.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing things as like items to get.
Yes.
There's an exchange.
Yeah.
And you always want something better.
Oh
and
my God, so smart.
That is like a miserable existence. It's not until you can realize that like you can live for a different purpose and a different reason that you can become fulfilled. And that is always going to be other people. Mm-hmm. Always. And I'm talking to men that I'm trying to like help them see to live a life that they don't end up going backwards.
Right.
And there's a weird dynamic in recovery. It's like 2 out of 10 make it a year, but then out of the ones that make it, only like 4%, 40% of them will make it past 2 years. But those that make it past 2 years will make it to 5 and 10. And what they found is the ones that make it to 1 year but then relapse, it's because their dreams or goals or whatever were all about them. It's like, get a job, get a girl, get a house. But they get it, and they get it quick, and it's just not enough. So they need something else to get them high. And that's what ends up happening. But if a person's like, I'm going to try to be a different person, I'm going to try to give back to society, I'm going to try to be helpful, it ends up being something that's fulfilling, and they stay alive for. And so my son, who's currently my actual son in college, Dad, I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to do. I'm like, well, you're costing me a ton of money, so we got to figure something out. But I'm like, listen, I just had this talk with him last Thanksgiving. I don't care if you pick some profession that's going to be glamorous or make you rich. Just find something that you like to do and that makes a difference in other people's lives. He's like, yeah, Dad, I know that, like, helping other people. I got it. I've been telling him that since he's good. So that's my advice.
Yeah.
That was good.
Okay. Can we do one more question?
Okay. I thought you were going to sing a song.
We can't even sing a song.
Because the kids are upstairs unattended right now.
Oh, yeah. No, go up there. What happened?
Well, I was going to sign you off.
Talking about other people's kids, and our
And we
kids
all have a very big
need
day
direction
tomorrow,
themselves. Okay, so what are we going to do?
We need to end. I'm
Sign
sorry.
off.
No song. Okay. Sorry, there's a million comments.
Well, she never gets to the bottom of the list.
All right. This has been awesome.
It
Well,
was really good.
We can do this again sometime.
I love our community. I love that they talk to each other on here. Thank you guys, all the people that are saying how helpful this was for you and how important it was for right now. And just so you know, I think about you guys and pray for you guys all the time. Like
They always ask where you're at when I'm streaming by myself. Can you tell? I said she's never just sitting upstairs watching TV.
I have
or
3
playing on her phone.
children.
She's doing something.
I have 3 children, and to feed them, and
I have 3 children too.
so
I know,
Josh
I'm sitting
sometimes
here
will
going-
just get lost down here, and I'll be like, "Guess I'm the one." If there's no children here, right now they're being unattended, which is stressing me out.
I'm just a guest here, and I'm stressed. I'm like, who knows what those kids are getting into up there?
Some of them are old enough.
Cupcakes.
For a minute,
Cupcakes.
a few minutes, it's cool.
We
but
caught the one son trying to steal the cupcakes just a few minutes ago. That was pretty funny.
I better go
Put
check
Josh-
on the
I put Josh
cupcakes.
in charge.
Okay,
All right.
so we got like 5 minutes, but to before they hurt themselves. So pray.
All right.
Go ahead, sign off. Tell
Well,
everybody thank
we
you.
love you guys.
See you guys.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
5 minutes.
She collects gray drops of rain inside the bottom of her glass, till the world is gone from upside down to right side up again. 'Cause she believes till she can see.